Hey everyone, and welcome back to another fan fiction. In Revenge of the Sith, Anakin is denied the rank of Master, but he is given a seat on the Council. This was due to the request of Chancellor Palpatine, who was effectively using Anakin as a spy on the Jedi Council, all without Anakin knowing. But what if Anakin wasn't granted a seat, and both his rank of Master and seat was rejected? Let's start today's story in the Council chambers as Windu denies Anakin his request. Mace can tell that Anakin is displeased, something that subtly makes the second in command internally smirk. If you have something to say, Skywalker, please, the floor is yours.
No, Anakin, just bow and leave. We will discuss this later.
Anakin thought to himself, this is ridiculous. He has worked his entire life and the Council has never appreciated his talents. You have all treated me like a child ever since I arrived here. You sense my power, you know my potential, but yet you constantly seek to undermine what I have earned. Anakin's emotions were boiling. For the first time, he wouldn't accept the Council's dogma. He would fight for what he believed was his. It's important to note that in the back of Anakin's mind are his dreams of Padme, and the knowledge that if he was made a Jedi Master, he could go into the restricted sections of the Jedi archives, and perhaps find something to save his wife from death. Anakin's voice grew louder, his frustration spilling into anger as he stared at the Council members seated before him. You sit here in your arrogance, pretending you know what's best for the galaxy, while the Republic falls apart all around you. How can I serve an order that refuses to trust me? I've sacrificed everything for this. Obi-Wan shifted uncomfortably in his seat, a warning glance cast towards his former Padawan, but Anakin ignored it. Mace Windu leaned forward, his tone cold and unyielding. Careful, Skywalker. Your pride blinds you. The Jedi Order has no place for defiance. Anakin's hands clenched into fists, his anger now unmistakable. No, Master Windu, it's you who are blind. You refuse to see the truth, and your hypocrisy will destroy the Jedi. Yoda shakes his head in sorrow.
Clouded, your judgment is, young Skywalker. A path to darkness I sense in you.
But Anakin was far beyond listening. I don't need your lectures, Master Yoda. I see now the Council will never accept me, no matter what I do. Windu's expression darkened. The Jedi Master looked around the room, almost gaining the approval from the other Masters for what he was about to do. Master Yoda offers him a slight nod. Enough. Your behavior is unbecoming of a Jedi. You are suspended from the Order until further notice. Anakin stood frozen for a moment, disbelief etched across his face before storming out of the chamber, the heavy doors slamming shut behind him as the Council sat in uneasy silence. Anakin, feeling lost and betrayed after his suspension from the Jedi Order, made his way to Chancellor Palpatine's office to vent his frustration. He explained how the Council had refused to grant him the rank of Master, denied him a seat, and now suspended him until further notice. Palpatine listened carefully, a sympathetic expression on his face before gently suggesting that Anakin could work with him while the Council sorted themselves out, assuring him that he was always welcome. Anakin began spending more and more time with the Chancellor, who continued to build a bond with the young Jedi by offering guidance and support that the Council never had. As the days passed, Anakin grew increasingly frustrated with the haunting visions of Padme dying in childbirth, and his anxiety began to consume him. One evening, as they sat together, Palpatine spoke of Darth Plagueis, an ancient Sith Lord who had the power to save lives and cheat death itself. Anakin's curiosity grew, and though he didn't fully trust Palpatine's intentions, he couldn't stop thinking about the possibilities of learning such a power to save Padme. Days turned into weeks, and Anakin found himself returning to Palpatine again and again, asking for more details about Plagueis. Each time, Palpatine revealed just enough to keep Anakin hooked, planting the seeds of doubt about the Jedi while offering a glimmer of hope for his fears. Finally, one day, Anakin confessed his visions of Padme dying and begged Palpatine to tell him more. You must understand, Anakin. The secrets of immortality are not found in the Jedi Order, Palpatine said, his voice calm but filled with purpose. Desperate, Anakin pressed him for answers, and at last, Palpatine revealed the truth. The ability to cheat death requires one to revel in pain and suffering. The kind of negativity that you don't possess, Anakin. The power you seek is a Sith power. Join me, my boy, and together we can achieve more than you ever thought possible. Anakin looked almost confused, as if he was digesting Palpatine's words. Yes, Anakin. I am the Sith Lord the Jedi have been searching for. Anakin stepped back in shock, his mind reeling. He thought of turning him in, of bringing this to the council, but the image of Padme, fragile and dying, filled his thoughts. Palpatine continued, his tone soothing yet persuasive, telling Anakin that the Jedi would never understand his love for Padme, that they would never accept the lengths he would go to save her. Anakin faltered, torn between everything he had ever been taught and the overwhelming fear of losing Padme. In the end, it was her face in his mind, her life slipping away in his visions, that made his decision. He fell to one knee before Palpatine, pledging himself to the Sith, with the hope that he could learn the power to save her. Palpatine smiled, his plan finally complete, and he named him Darth Vader, the new apprentice who would bring his dark vision for the galaxy to life. Palpatine led Anakin to a desolate, ancient training world, a place shrouded in dark legends and Sith history, where the lineage of Darth Bane trained their apprentices for generations. Here lived a species of primitive beings who had first fought against Bane himself long ago, with nothing but their bare hands. Over centuries, these beings had evolved, growing stronger and smarter each time a Sith apprentice came to test themselves. By Palpatine's time, the beings had crafted wooden weapons and forged a small savage society. Now, almost 60 years later, Anakin faced an even greater challenge. These beings had advanced into fully fledged battle-hardened civilizations with weapons of sharpened metal, armor made of scavenged materials, and tactics honed by centuries of combat. As they circled Anakin, snarling and preparing to attack, Palpatine stood on the sidelines, his voice calm and coaxing. You have no lightsaber, Lord Vader. Use your force, your anger, your hatred. Show them what the Jedi never allowed you to become. The beings lunged, and Anakin leaped into action, using the force to shove one aside whilst dodging another one's spear. They came at him relentlessly, their numbers overwhelming, their strikes fast and brutal. Anakin gritted his teeth and fought back, using bursts of raw power to send them flying, but they kept coming. Palpatine's voice grew louder, more forceful. Remember, Anakin, the Jedi never wanted you. They feared your strength, your power. Use your rage. Make them pay for what they've done to you. The words struck deep, igniting a fire in Anakin. Memories of the Council's rejection, their constant doubt, and their cold treatment fueled his anger. He roared, unleashing a powerful force wave that sent a dozen of the beings crashing into the rocks. But they were not defeated. They regrouped and attacked again, more ferocious than ever before. Anakin's frustration boiled over. He grabbed one attacker with the force and hurled them into another, crushing both with sheer power. His movements became faster, more precise, as he tapped deeper into his emotions, channeling the dark energy Palpatine had been feeding him. Good, good, Palpatine called, his voice laced with satisfaction. You see now, Anakin, the Jedi were holding you back. Feel the power of the dark side, it is yours to command. Anakin's vision blurred with rage as he slammed another opponent into the ground, their weapons shattering under his assault. He didn't just fight them, he dominated them, his strength unmatched, his fury uncontainable. When the final being charged at him, Anakin doesn't hesitate. He reached out with the force, crushing their weapon and lifting them into the air. Their cries silenced as he ended the fight in a single devastating motion. Palpatine approached, a pleased smile on his face. You see now, my apprentice, this is your destiny. The Jedi could never make you this strong. Anakin's mind was clouded by rage and triumph, but he felt the truth in Palpatine's words. For the first time, he felt unstoppable, as though the galaxy itself was his to control. We are ready, but to conquer Coruscant and destroy the Jedi, we need numbers. Together, they traveled to Zygeria, where Palpatine promised the enslaved warriors freedom in exchange for their loyalty. Desperate for liberation, the Zygerians accepted, gathering a vast army armed with makeshift weapons and raw strength. With their new force, Anakin and Palpatine returned to Coruscant and prepared to unleash chaos. As they arrived, Palpatine executed Order 66 with the clones and slaves, and they launched their assault on the Jedi Temple. The Zygerian army stormed the city alongside them, overwhelming the Republic defenses and creating an unstoppable wave of destruction. The temple grounds became a battlefield, with Jedi Masters and Padawans fighting desperately against the tide. Lightsabers clashed and hummed, deflecting blaster bolts and cutting down attackers, but the combined strength of the clones and the Zygerians was too much. Anakin led the charge into the temple, his face dark with anger, his blue blade flashing as he struck down his former comrades. The Zygerians, emboldened by their numbers and dreams of freedom, fought with unmatched ferocity, their weapons crashing against Jedi defenses. The slaves fell like a tidal wave, but their numbers remained overwhelming. Sidious strode through the chaos, his red saber slicing through any who dared to approach him, lightning crackling from his fingertips to decimate entire groups of defenders. Deep within the temple, the strongest Jedi gathered to make their final stand. Yoda and Mace Windu waited at the entrance to the council chambers, their sabers ignited and ready. Palpatine and Anakin arrived, the Sith Lord grinning with malevolent glee as he raised his saber. The duel that would follow was a storm of power and skill, Yoda flipping and darting with unmatched speed, countering Palpatine's vicious strikes while Windu battled Anakin, their blades clashing in a flurry of light. Palpatine taunted Yoda, his voice dripping with venom, while Anakin channeled his rage, every strike against Windu growing more brutal. Finally, in a moment of pure dark fury, Anakin overwhelmed Windu, delivering a devastating blow that ended the Jedi Master's life. At the same time, Palpatine overwhelmed Yoda with a surge of Force lightning, sending the small Jedi Master into unconsciousness. As the remaining Jedi fell, the Zygerian warriors celebrated their victory, cheering as the temple burned. But Palpatine had no intention of fulfilling his promise. Once the Jedi were destroyed, he gave the order to eliminate the Zygerians. Anakin was now fully immersed in the dark side, and he led the betrayal, slaughtering the warriors with terrifying precision. The clones turned on the remaining Zygerians, ensuring no survivors. By the end, Coruscant was silent, the Jedi Temple in ruins, and the Zygerians wiped out. Anakin stood among the ashes, hailed as a hero who had saved the Republic from a supposed slave rebellion. Palpatine wasted no time, addressing the Senate with fabricated tales of treachery, declaring the Jedi traitors and the Republic too weak to maintain order. He announced the formation of the Galactic Empire, with himself as Emperor. The Senate applauded, welcoming an age of tyranny. After the defeat of the Jedi and rise of the Sith, Padme goes into labor. Anakin stood by her side, desperately hoping to save her. At this moment, Palpatine promised to help Anakin by using the powers that Plagueis taught him. The truth is that Plagueis never taught him this. Only Darth Plagueis had understood the secrets to immortality, but Palpatine pretended that he had the power too. To Anakin's surprise, Padme survived, and as her heart kept beating, he couldn't believe it. In his mind, his master had saved her, and he was forever indebted to him. But Sidious had an ulterior motive in mind. He explained that he has tied his life force to Padme's so that as long as he lives, she lives. If he dies, she dies. This cemented his control over the young Jedi, and meant that Anakin could never try and overthrow him. With Padme alive, their empire grew beyond anything anyone could ever imagine, stronger and more powerful each day. The galaxy trembled at their might, and Anakin reached his full potential in the Force, and became an unstoppable tyrant. He ruled with an iron fist, crushing anyone who stood in his way. Padme was horrified at what her husband had become, and she felt trapped, unable to leave the two most powerful beings in the galaxy. Their children grew up under the harsh tutelage of Anakin, trained as Sith Lords from birth, destined to inherit their father's darkness. The galaxy plunged into chaos with no hope of resistance against the most powerful forces ever known. Anakin and Palpatine, side by side, ruled with unchallenged power, their reign lasting forever, as the galaxy cried out in despair.
Before we start, at Fantasy Sabers, we're launching the Chosen One affordable version. This is almost an identical replica of the Chosen One saber with just a few tweaks, but it's still packing all of its power and glory. And to celebrate, for the first 2 weeks of its launch, we're giving away one for free with every saber order. Just choose your saber, add it to the cart to claim your free saber. Don't miss out on this limited time only sale. Now back to the video.
Thanks for watching today's video. Head over to Fantasy Sabers for the best NeoPixel sabers on the market. You won't be disappointed. And be sure to check out our membership program where you get exclusive content and all of our what ifs early. See you all in the next episode, and may the Force be with you.